Hello and welcome to Kick-Ass Boomers. My guest today is Peter Beckenham, and he is an Australian entrepreneur who lives and runs his online sales and marketing coaching business from a remote Thai village. And we'll hear more about that tonight. He helps small businesses to build authority, attract quality leads, and generate sales. Welcome, Peter. How are you doing today?
Hi, Terry. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be with you.
And I'm so excited to have you here. I know you're going to have a lot of good things to share. So, why don't you just start out by sharing a little bit about your background and what brought you to your journey of leaving the corporate world and starting your own online business? So, how did that happen?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me put all the cards on the table because I'm 1 year older than baby boomers. I'm 1945, right? But close
That's okay.
enough,
You're an
Terry.
honorary one, and you are close enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I turned 75 in July. Okay. And I'm hoping that anyone who's listening to this podcast can pick up that age is just a number. That's all it is, right? And if you've got the desire and the passion and the commitment and the willingness, you can achieve anything. Don't retire. Don't retire. I mean, I love the fact that Terry's got 4 words that are classic, and it's called "Be bold, not old." Right? I
Abs-
love that.
yep. Absolutely.
Back to my story. Okay. Let me go back prior to the corporate world, Terry. I mean, I started as a school teacher
Mhm.
because I just love teaching kids, right? I really did. And I was a high school economics teacher, and I did very well. And my students did very well indeed. But unfortunately, I did too well because they kept promoting me. Okay. And that's not what I wanted. I mean, in a way, it's good for the ego when you're a young man, right?
Right.
And I think, wow, this is good. And I got to the level of being what you call faculty head, which meant I had 12 staff members under me. And by the way, I was the youngest member of the staff, right? And
Oh
I was,
my goodness. Uh-oh.
but it was great. I mean, because it was a great lesson for me in leadership to start with, right?
Mhm.
And also, I know I could help each of them without being arrogant, without being pushy. They were struggling with classroom behavior problems. They were struggling with getting the results from their students when it came to external examinations, etc. And even though they were in different specialty areas,
Mhm.
okay, I knew I could help them, which I did. Anyway, long story short, in education, I ended up getting promoted to being the youngest principal in Australia, right?
Wow.
And at 31 years of age, you would have thought, wow, all my dreams have come true.
Right.
Well, I was very unhappy. And I was unhappy because, Terry, I am an administration nightmare. And all I wanted to do is teach the children and happy to lead the staff, right?
Right. Right.
Which I did anyway. But I just wanted one class, just
Ugh.
one class. And I would have stayed as a principal of the school and probably would have retired as a school principal. Okay.
Wow.
But life has funny ways of coming around, right? And at the end of the day, they wouldn't do it. They just would not give me.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
know,
Yeah.
I know.
Yep.
And I said to them, look, I'm going to give you a month's notice, and I will find you my replacement. I will even train them to do it for you if you like. No, that's
Wow.
not your job. I mean, because I'm dealing with the bureaucracy, right, Terry?
Right. Right. That's true.
I mean, how naive can you get? Anyway, long story. I left,
Mhm.
but interesting enough, I said to my wife prior to leaving, I said to her, "Dear, I want to ask you something, and I want you to tell me the answer over breakfast.
Hmm.
What's the worst 2 jobs you can think of?" Okay.
Wow.
What are the worst 2 jobs? She said, why? I said, because I'm thinking of leaving education. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, you just be a school principal. You're a success. You're this. You're that. I said, yes,
Right.
I am, and I'm completely unhappy because I don't want
Yeah.
to deal all day every day in meetings dealing with bus drivers
Right.
and
All the
whatever it may
problems. Right.
be. Okay,
Right.
and going to all the in those days in Australia, Terry, there was a lot of political unrest within the education department,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And it wasn't my cup of tea. All right.
Right. Right.
My wife and I slept that night very fitfully. In fact, she was angry. She was really
I
angry
bet. I
at me thinking about this, right?
bet.
So we got to breakfast time and I've got my cornflakes out there and there's deadly silence. Nothing's being said at all, right?
Uh-oh.
And I'm saying, well, what do you think? And I didn't get an answer. I said, please tell me, what is it? What are the two worst jobs you can think of? She said, Peter, why do you want to do this? I said, please, please, please. Have I ever let you down before? She said, well, no. I said, well, trust me. Give me the two worst jobs you can think of. Because I know whatever they are, if I pick up one of them and do it differently to everybody else, I can be a success.
Right. Right.
And that was the secret that my father, who sadly has passed away now, but he gave me on my 21st birthday. He said the secret to success in the business world, Peter, when one of these days you'll be there, you will not be in teaching. He knew.
He
knew
knew.
me.
How
Right?
did he know? Oh my goodness.
Well, he bred me, right?
Yeah,
He was an
so he knew.
entrepreneur, right?
He knew you weren't gonna be able to stay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
And he
incredible.
said the secret, in fact, what he did was he gave me, for my 21st birthday, I thought he was really being stingy, right? He gave me this picture, right? And
Uh-huh.
the picture was simply a bowl of green apples with one red apple. He said, that's the clue.
That's the
There
clue.
it is. That's the secret to your success. And I said, well,
Wow.
thanks very much, Dad. I really appreciate that. I was expecting a new car, but I'll take the picture, right? The bottom line was, the clue was be different.
That's
Okay?
right. Be different. Yep.
And when you
Wow.
think about it, you're an entrepreneur, okay,
Right.
Terry? And that is one of the key areas of being successful, to be different, to differentiate yourself from other people, as well as doing a whole lot of other things, right? So
Absolutely.
that's
Yep.
the message I try to give my wife over a
Wow.
very frigid breakfast morning. And she said, okay, here's the two worst. Second-hand car salesman or a
Oh,
life insurance agent. I
she's
said, okay,
probably
thank you
pretty
very much for
close.
that. So I said, okay. So I went looking for a job as a life insurance agent, and I couldn't get one because everywhere I went, I mean, I was in Rotary as well in those days and as a school principal, and every life insurance company I went into, the manager knew me
Oh,
as a principal of the
right.
school, and I said, I'm here for a job as an agent. Oh,
Yeah.
come
And
on,
they looked at you like you're nuts, right?
come on, let's go and have some lunch together. Let's get rid of this rubbish, right?
See? Yep.
So, and I mean, and even to this day, life
Oh my
insurance
God.
companies would love people to walk in and say, I want to have a job, right?
Absolutely. Oh my
But I couldn't get
gosh.
one.
That's
So I
nuts.
finally found an insurance company that didn't know me. And I said, are you taking on any agents today? Of course they are, right?
Of course.
So
Oh,
I said, I'd like to apply for a position.
wow.
Anyway, the manager came out and spoke to me and he said, so how long have you been out of work? I said, I'm not out of work. I'm a school principal, but I want a job as an agent. And he said, no, but you don't want that. I said, what are you talking about? He said, why would you want to? I said, please, you sound like my wife.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Just let me sign the papers.
Right.
I want to become an insurance agent, not because I want to be an insurance agent, because I'm fascinated with the world of sales and marketing.
Right. Right.
And in order to be good at it, I need to be able to experience the ups and downs and the kicks and the butts that comes with it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I want to start at the bottom.
Right.
Okay.
And that's an agent.
So let me do it. So he finally let me do it. And I said,
Wow.
but I'll do it on one condition. I do not want to know anything about your products. Okay,
Oh,
I really don't. I'll employ two of my ex-students. As long as you are prepared to train them, I'll pay for them.
uh-huh.
And they can come with me on every appointment. Okay, and if ever I need any expert advice about products, I'll refer to them. Okay, and
Way to
that's
go.
exactly what I did.
Wow, that is
So,
different.
so what I, yeah, be different, Terry,
Very,
be
yeah,
different,
that's
right?
very different. Wow.
So when I would walk in to see Terry, for example, as a potential life insurance client,
Right.
I would say to you, Terry, please don't ask me anything about insurance. I haven't got a clue. I really haven't got a clue. Okay, but I've got two young people here who've got all the answers.
Right.
But what they have to say is completely irrelevant depending on what your situation is. So let's just have a conversation. Let's find out whether you
Right.
even need insurance. And I'd love to have the opportunity to spend 30 minutes with you to
Wow.
decide if that's possible. And if it's not, then it'll be a delight to have met with you.
Right.
If there's any other needs that you've come up with, then I've got connections within the legal and the accountancy professions. I'm happy to refer them to you as well. Is it okay? Can we talk? No one
Absolutely.
said no.
No, of course not,
Okay?
because you're just asking for a conversation. That's really
And
different.
and Terry, I'm still doing that's what I do now. I'm teaching conversation selling. That's what I do, right? Anyway,
Still
that's by the way.
today. Wow. Wow. Must be
So
working.
yeah. So at
Uh-huh.
the end of 1 year, I'd earned double what I would have earned as a school principal.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
totally fulfilled. I was
Wow.
happy. I
Wow.
was enjoying life. My clients became friends.
Yep.
These friends referred me to other people, and life was pretty darn good. Okay.
Nice. Right.
And I still didn't know anything about any insurance policies. I didn't have a clue, right?
That's really astounding. Wow.
And by the way, there were occasions when we had a policy that could have solved the problem, but
Right.
it wasn't exactly what they wanted. So then what I would do was I would send them to the competition who had a better option. Okay. And that was frowned upon in those days. But you know what? To me, it was ethically the right thing to do.
Right. And you made a client for life doing that, because then
Not
they
only that,
really trust you.
more than that, I made someone who was a person who would always refer me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Even though they weren't a client, because I sent
Right.
them somewhere else.
Right. But they
They
would
became an advocate.
absolutely. They
They
would talk
became an
about
advocate.
you. Do you believe this guy, what he did? He sent me to the competition. They probably talked to everybody about you. So, of course, you're going to get referrals that way. You came
Yeah.
up in conversation every day.
Yeah. I mean, to me, advocates
Wow.
were more important than anything else,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
Anyway,
Wow.
I'm very much aware that I'm doing all the talking here, Terry.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to do most of the
Oh,
talk.
okay.
I'm the
Oh, my
listener.
goodness. You sound like my grandma when you said that.
I hope I don't look like her. Although
No,
I'm up there, but
that was not implied at all.
okay.
And I love my grandma anyway.
Yeah,
But
of
the point is
course.
this: the life repeats itself. All right. I
Mm-hmm.
did so well as an agent that they promoted me, but this time I accepted the promotion because
Oh,
the next level up was to what they call, I can't even remember, I think agency manager in
mm-hmm.
those days. But
Right.
my job was then to train and teach other people how to do what I did.
Which
So
you
I
love
thought
to
this is
do.
perfect. This is
Right.
something the education department let me do, right?
That's right. That's right. Oh my
So, and
gosh.
this went on, and then I went from agency manager to state manager, and then ended up being the Australian sales manager. But once I
Wow.
got to the Australian sales manager, all of a sudden you're in the corporate world, right?
Right. Right.
And the teaching aspect disappeared. All of a
Uh,
sudden I was in board meetings doing the administration work that I was hoping all my life I'd never get into, right?
that's right. Back where you were in the other job. Oh my
Correct.
gosh. Yep.
And during that process in the corporate world, I actually was sent to Asia. right?
Ah.
To, because I was with a company called Lend Lease Corporation who'd bought out a bank and bought out an insurance company, and that's how I got involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they made me their national sales manager, and then sent me to Asia, where they had joint ventures in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, and Thailand. All right.
Wow.
And my role was, I think, general manager of sales and distribution, or something pretty fancy on the credit on the card. I don't know, right? But it really meant I had to help these people and
Right.
train them how to
Mm-hmm.
do the role of getting new customers without pushing them, without being sleazy and salesy,
Right.
etc. So
Right.
again, I thought, wow, I got a reprieve. Okay. But I had to go back every 2 weeks back to Australia, back into the corporate world and all the political
Oh,
rubbish that went with it.
right.
Finally, and in the middle of all that, fell in love with a Thai lady, right? Married her. This is many, many years ago, right?
Wow.
And I spoke with her and I said, look, I think the best thing for me to do is what my father told me so many years ago. Um, I want to run my own business. That's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no spring chicken at this stage, Terry, right? I'm not 25 any longer,
That's
right?
right.
So I said to the corporation, I'm going to give you a month's notice.
Wow.
And like the education department, why? You're doing so well. Do, right?
Right. Right.
There's a thing called happiness and fulfillment that's important to me, not just money, right? It's important to me,
Absolutely. And the older you get, the more important it is. It's
right?
just,
And I was
money
running out of
isn't
time.
everything as you get older. It's not. So,
Yeah. So I left, okay? I left and started my own business, and I'm still
wow.
running it, okay?
Wow. So how
And
old were you when you started the new business, the online one?
I would have been about 6 years off the official, about 59.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Nice.
about 59.
Yep.
So then I make close to 60. My
Hmm.
memory's not that good, Terry, but about that, right?
About 60. Yep.
About 60. So then I started my own business from scratch,
Wow.
completely from scratch, right?
That's phenomenal.
But same principles, right? Be
Hmm.
different,
Right.
conversation with people, don't put them under pressure, okay?
Right.
And what I was doing, the only thing I was selling, if you want to use that word, and most people hate that word because it's got connotations, right?
Right.
The only thing I was selling was helping them to improve their business. So I worked in those days with the tourist area, especially with hotels in the Asian area who were competing against each other. And I was showing them how to
Hmm.
get more bums in beds, right?
Hmm.
That's what it amounted to, right?
Right. Right.
And and I was getting paid good money to have the different departments in a hotel talk to each other,
Oh, which
right?
they should have been doing anyway, but they don't.
Correct.
They don't. Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
I know it sounds crazy, but it is.
It is
So I
crazy.
was doing that, but then, and I was traveling a lot. I mean, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, and I wasn't seeing much at all of my family. And I thought, I think enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than that, at the same time, my wife said to me, well, in fact, we had three things happen at once. Can I share these with you? It's a
Sure.
bit personal.
Absolutely. Yep.
First of all, I was diagnosed with severe heart disease, right?
Oh,
That was a bit of a knockback.
right.
Um, Secondly, my wife um, mentioned to me, she said, I would like us to move to my parents' village rather than, because we're living in Bangkok, the capital of Thailand, right?
Right.
And I said, I've been there before, okay, and it's extremely poor.
Hmm.
People are beautiful, but extremely poor.
Right.
She said, and I said, why would you like to do that? We visit very often. She said, because there's no social security in Thailand, okay? And I want to take care of that. And that's a beautiful part of the Thai culture.
Hmm.
That they look after they would never ever think of putting their family member into a nursing home, for
Yep.
example, right?
Yep. That's part of
In
their
fact,
culture. Absolutely. Yep.
I don't think there's any nursing homes here. I don't know. I don't think so. If there is, they wouldn't be for Thais, they'd be for foreigners, right?
Right. Right.
So anyway, we went to the village. Was it a culture shock? Absolutely.
Oh, I bet. I
Absolutely.
bet.
And I thought, after a few days, I thought, what am I going to do? I can only talk to the buffaloes for so long, right? And I said to my wife, look, I can see around me there's so much poverty. The
Hmm.
children were leaving school at the age of 12 or 13 to
Oh,
work in the rice fields, right?
wow. That's
To help
awful.
the parents in the rice fields.
Yep.
And all that was an ever increasing cycle of poverty.
Hmm.
And they get one rice crop a year, and most of that money that they got was given back to the bank to repay the loan
Ugh.
that they already had, and they borrow again,
Ugh.
etc., etc. And
Terrible.
I said to my wife, we can help here.
Hmm.
I said, let me combine my years of teaching with my years of sales, okay, and coaching, and
Hmm.
I'll do it online. And she said, hey, can you do it online from a Thai village if you haven't got the internet? I said, that's an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went to the Thai Telecom Authority and paid a fortune, but got it
Got it.
for
Well,
them
there you
to
go.
run a fiber optic cable from the nearest highway, which is about
Oh,
10 miles away, to the
wow.
village, right?
Wow. 10 miles away. Wow.
Anyway, so
That's why it
but I'm
cost a
online.
fortune. Ah, well,
So I'm
that's good.
online, right? Anyway, so I started running a coaching business, and the idea was for me to earn money from my coaching.
Hmm.
One, one to help my family in a way, right? But
Right.
more importantly, to help the village.
Hmm.
And I was misguided completely because when I got my first month's coaching fees,
Hmm.
I said to my wife, can we organise a village meeting? Because I'd like to know and help me. How much do I give to each family?
Hmm.
And she said, Pete, you can't do that. You can't do that. I
They
said, what
wouldn't
do you
take
mean?
it, right?
I said, this is what I set the business for. She said, you misunderstood. I thought, the problem is there's a culture within the Buddhist religion called krenjai.
Oh,
Krenjai means do not ever accept from somebody something that you can never repay.
oh. And they
So
felt
if
they could
I
never
gave
repay
them
them.
cash, if I gave them $100 in cash, right,
Hmm.
go and to buy some school books,
Right.
they couldn't do that.
Right. Oh,
But it was an easy solution.
good.
What I did was every Friday, I'd hire a little bus and we'd drive to the nearest city, which is about 15, 20 miles away, right?
Hmm.
And I'd take all the kids and the parents, okay,
Hmm.
not all of them, but selected numbers in the bus,
Right.
and we go shopping for school clothes, school shoes, bags, books,
Wow.
pens, paper, okay, and I paid for that. That's
And
what it
they're
was all
allowed
about.
to accept that. That's okay.
That's except because it wasn't direct cash, right?
Oh, okay. Cool. Yep.
Okay. I
Nice.
mean, to this day, it still makes me think of it, but it doesn't matter. It worked, right?
They work. That's all that counts.
But the beautiful part is this, Barbara, the look on the parents' faces
Yeah.
when they saw their children going off to school, staying in school,
Uh,
wearing new uniforms, having new shoes,
yep.
having the ability to pay the money to keep at school. And I'm talking about public schools, and the fees aren't that high, right? But they
Hmm.
couldn't even afford that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The look on their faces was priceless.
Mm.
And that to me was fulfillment at a level I'd never felt before.
And it's
Okay.
so important, I think, that as we age, we understand that fulfillment, that kind, and we look for it. And it is very meaningful. And I love that you were able to put the two together, have your own business and have a cause that your business helps facilitate. And you're helping so many people. It's amazing. It's just wonderful. It's
Well, I've
wonderful.
got a bigger cause now because I'm now thinking of legacy. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, just 6 months ago, I had a very difficult time with my health. Okay,
Hmm.
as you are aware, I just mentioned I
Right.
have severe heart disease, but
Hmm.
also in December and January I had double pneumonia, and I cut it really fine, and
Hmm.
I didn't know how close it was.
Mm.
Okay, because I'm the supreme optimist, right?
Right.
And I never give in. All right, and I'm laying in the hospital bed, okay? And it was in this private ward, and my heart specialist, who was a beautiful lady, she came into me one day and she said, Peter, I want you to fight.
Mm.
Of course. She said, no, I really want you to fight. And I didn't really quite understand what she was implying.
Hmm.
The next morning, I went to get out of bed. This is getting a bit personal, but I'm happy to share it if you don't mind.
And I think my audience is happy to hear it. They need to hear stories like that.
Okay. Well, I got out of bed,
Hmm.
okay, with the with the stand that's carrying the intravenous stuff,
Right.
etc.
Right.
Right,
Oh.
and I had a five yard walk to the bathroom, and I couldn't make it. I collapsed.
Oh. Wow.
Right, and I don't know how long I was out for. It could have
Hmm.
been 10 seconds, 5 seconds, a minute. I have no idea.
Hmm.
I do remember when I first became conscious again. Okay, apart
Hmm.
from the fact I'd hurt myself, that's why I still can't lift my arm up anymore. This one's the one. This one I can't.
Oh. Wow.
Uh, the a thing went through my head, and just a nanosecond, Terry, just a nanosecond,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it'd be a lot easier to go.
Mm.
It'd be a lot easier to go. That thought, I mean, and I'm not embarrassed to say it because
Hmm.
I want to be honest and transparent
Hmm.
and to be authentic. That
Right.
actually went through my head,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I thought, now I know what the doctor said. You have to fight,
Yep.
right? The next morning she came in. And she said, "How are you?" I said, "Well, I had a bit of a problem yesterday." She, "Yes, I heard all about it. I heard all about it. I told you, Peter, you have to fight." Now I'm going to tell you something else because I know how strong you are
Huh.
in your mind.
Right.
You need to accept this. This is serious. This is not just a sickness.
Hmm.
You are close to the line,
Ugh.
right?
Right.
You have a 50% chance of getting a stroke
Mm.
and an 85% chance of not getting out of here at all.
Oh.
Does
Wow.
that make sense to you?
Oh.
Well, Terry, that really shook me up, right?
That's terrible news. It would have shaken me up too. Oh my gosh. Oh.
But that made me fight. And here I am.
Good.
Here I am,
Good.
right?
Never quit. Right. Never quit.
Never quit.
Never give
Because
in. Yep.
the other thing was this: when I'm laying in hospital after hearing that news,
Hmm.
apart from it wasn't the fear of death,
Hmm.
right? It was the fear of not being able to take care of my family, of losing the love, care, and affection that was so special to me.
Hmm.
And in addition to that, it was the fear that I hadn't finished doing what I wanted to do.
Right.
Okay? Because I wanted a legacy. I wanted to make an impact in this village.
Hmm.
I'd identified 4 people who could carry on doing the work I was doing once I did pass away. But I wasn't planning on passing away so soon, right?
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
And that went through my mind. I need to help these 4 people because what I want to do is have them in a position where they can do what I'm doing
Hmm.
without the coaching fees that I'm using to. Because I mean, I built the school for them and
Hmm.
libraries and all that sort of stuff. That's what I do with my coaching fees, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So I wanted to set up a foundation
Hmm.
that they could then draw the money on, etc., etc. And all those things are running through my head in the hospital,
Right. Right.
and that's what got me better.
And that is huge. I think whenever we have something outside of ourselves for other people, it does help us. It makes us stronger. And you knew you couldn't let them down. So you fought harder than you might have otherwise.
Absolutely.
It's
And,
wonderful. That's
and
wonderful.
I am 74, right?
Hmm. Yep.
No, now 75, but 74 in those days.
Right. Wow.
So to me, life is too short.
Hmm.
Every morning, I always express gratitude when I can open my eyes, right?
Me
And
too.
then I
Yep.
give 100% to every person I deal with because I for me, my coaching is a passion. It
Mm-hmm.
is truly a passion with an incredible why. Because I have to look over the fence to make sure that I see
That
the kids. You know,
that's right. That's a huge why. That's wonderful.
and I'm proud. I mean, I know people listening to this might think, "Oh, that's no big deal," but for the last 10 years, not one child has left high school until they finish graduating from high school.
That is
And that
something
might
to
not
be.
sound that important, but it's a huge thing here,
It's
right?
huge, and it's very. You should be proud of that. You should absolutely be very proud of that. That's
I
excellent.
am, and I've got two at university right now, and that's unheard
Two.
of.
Wow,
One's
that is
doing
unheard of.
pharmacy and one's
Oh my
doing
gosh.
law.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is
And of
really
course, yeah,
that's
I'm involved
exceptional.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's exceptional. Because these kids could have never done it without you. Ever, ever, ever. It wouldn't have happened.
yeah.
So,
So, can I share something
mhm,
outside of that with
right.
because we're talking to kick-ass boomers, right?
Yep.
And I'm sharing from not just the School of Hard Knocks, but from my heart to their heart. All right.
Right.
Everybody, irrespective of your age, you have the opportunity and you have the ability to help other people. Never ever believe you can't. Okay. And what I would advise people to do if
Hmm.
they're thinking about even starting a business, and I know a lot of boomers are scared about business opportunities, especially online, because there are so many darn charlatans online. I know that, right?
Yes. Right.
And by the way, I do not sell business opportunities. So don't
Yeah.
ask me about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to give some advice to them. The first thing is this: think very carefully. What is a problem that you can solve for somebody? Okay.
Hmm.
Think about your life. Think about the problems you've overcome, the experiences you've had. Maybe you spent 40 years in banking or in education or in nursing or whatever it may have been. Okay.
Hmm.
Think of the experiences and the expertise that you've got. Okay. And remember this, that you may think, oh, that's nothing. But if you can solve a certain problem for somebody, they might think it's pretty darn special. So, what is the problem that you can solve? Spend time thinking about that. If
Right.
you're a baby boomer and you are not sure what to do with your life right now, or you want to supplement your retirement income, or you're bored, or you want a legacy, whatever drives you,
Hmm.
think about that. That's the first thing. Get absolute clarity
Right.
on the problem you can solve. And then, second, get absolute clarity on who you can solve it for. All right.
Right.
You can do those two things. I can tell you, if you've got a solution to this problem they have, and you may think it's no big deal, well, then I ask you, go back and think about what it was like for you when you were struggling with that very same problem.
Right.
How did it make you feel?
Hmm.
Okay. What was the pain and the frustration like? Because if you can recall that, then you will know that people will not only want it, but they'll pay for it. And you've therefore got yourself a business.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So if you can provide the missing piece
Hmm.
for somebody who has a problem, then you've got real value you can give. And in a way, I'm going to step outside where I should here,
Hmm.
but in a way, you've got a moral obligation to provide it.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
All
We
right.
need to share our value with others in any, it could be a volunteer way, or you could start a nonprofit organization and do it that way. There's lots of different ways to do it, but if you need to earn
Absolutely.
money and you want an online business, there's lots of ways to go about that as well. Yep.
Okay. So there you go.
Very, very valuable insight. I love it. Thank you, Peter. That was great. So
Terry, it was a pleasure to be with you.
it was. Now, how can people reach you if they want to? Do you have a website to give us, or how do you want people to be able to contact you?
Yeah, they can send me a friend request on Facebook, Peter Beckenham. You can
Oh,
probably see it on
okay.
Beckenham. Send me a friend request. But when you send me a friend request, do me a favor,
Hmm.
send me a message with it, simply
Yes,
saying kick ass boomers. Then I'll know that you listen to the podcast, right?
that's right. That's right. That's
Okay?
the way to do it. Good. I like that.
Because I don't accept all the friend requests that I get. I mean, I
Right.
don't do that. But I
Right.
would definitely give preference to people who listen to the podcast. That's one thing.
Right.
Or you can go to my website. It's Peter Beckenham, PeterBeckenham.com.
Okay, great.
Is
And
there
I'll
anything
have
for
that in the
sale
show
there? There's
notes.
nothing for sale there.
Okay. Yep.
All you do is you'll look at some questions, and if you'd like to spend some time with me, you can click a link and come and say,
Thank you, Peter. This was wonderful. It was a lot of value for my kick-ass boomers. I just love it. You shared a lot of real insight and feelings, and I think they're really going to appreciate it.
thank you, Terry. It was my pleasure to share.
Thank you. Thank you.